Hey guys, it's Danny Bell. I hope you guys are having an awesome day today so far, wherever you are in the world. Today we are on a freshly leveled island called Honeybelle. This is actually my original island that I made on Animal Crossing New Horizons, and if you missed the last video, please check it out. We actually did an entire time-lapse type of video showing the complete teardown of the island. I'm actually really excited to have a fresh, clean slate for Honeybelle 2.0. We're going to turn this entire island into a realistic city, and I can't wait to do this with you guys on this new journey for this island. If you're looking for Citycore ideas and you're looking in particular for kind of realistic type of builds, you've come to the right place, so I hope you'll join us for that. Today we're going to be working on the entrance for Honeybelle 2.0. I wanted to do sort of a streetscape with maybe a bus stop, something of that nature. So let's speed things up and get going. I'm really excited to see how this first build on our brand new island comes together. Alright, so first things first, I was able to find some really fantastic patterns for us in the portal. So if you guys are looking for these patterns, I'll be sure to list each of the custom design codes in the description of the video for you guys. That way, if you're looking for something like this to use on your islands, you'll have it readily available. I really love this sidewalk pattern, guys. This is a really great pattern. It has a nice 3D effect. It has a bunch of different pieces. I went ahead and picked probably 6 of these pieces to use for our island. I do like to try to pick patterns that are interchangeable and that can be definitely versatile to use all over the island, just to spare a few squares for our custom design patterns. But the thing I love about this is it blends really well with this other street pattern that I was able to find on the portal. Now ultimately, I know fall is coming up, and my goal was to sort of create a fall type of cityscape on this island, but we're going to kind of see where it goes. Once we kind of get through some of the first few builds, I'm sure we can sort of zhuzh things up, make it a little bit more fall themed. That's one thing I really like about Citycore type of builds. I feel like it's a really versatile theme. I think it's something that if you choose to do Citycore on your island, if you create a sort of base build for all of your different island areas, it's pretty easy, I think, to sort of at times switch out some of the decorations and accoutrements to make it either holiday themed, for whether it be for Halloween, or if you're looking to do something for Toy Day and Christmas and that sort of thing. I think that just swapping out some of the items all throughout the island can for sure give the island itself a little bit of longevity, so that way if you're sort of changing up the themes, if you're the type of person that enjoys doing that sort of thing, I think it can really add a lot and for sure give you ideas on what you can kind of do to change up your island a little bit here and there for the holidays. Oh my gosh, guys, check out these villagers. They are totally cracking me up. We have a bunch of really super cute cuties on this island. We'll probably have to be doing a little bit of villager hunting here just to swap a few of them out so that they make sense, but I'm really excited to kind of see who we can find. My plan is to hopefully for this island come up with some ideas specifically for the villager house builds to sort of incorporate them into the island itself. I have a few great ideas in my back pocket that I'm hopeful we can work on here in the upcoming weeks to sort of form the new Honeybelle 2.0. Oh, Raymond! Oh my gosh, sweet Raymond. He's got to be one of my absolute faves. He's been an OG on this island from the get-go. He's been here from 2020, and oh my gosh, don't think I'll ever let that sweet little business cat leave. He's absolutely perfect, especially for a Citycore island, so he'll be for sure staying, but we'll have to go over some of the villagers here in the next couple episodes. Let me know in the comments, once we do that, guys, who you'd like to see. Who do you think is a really great Citycore villager? Let me know in the comments who you think is the perfect Citycore villager on an island. Alright, let's catch up with the build a little bit. Now we've put in a street and sidewalk here and this adorable crosswalk. I really love these patterns, especially with this particular street pattern. Not only do you have the ability to build vertical and horizontal roads, it has this really fantastic crosswalk with it, which I think can really make a difference when creating intersections. Especially with Citycore islands, I think that they tend to be slightly less with terraforming, and so I think having really intricate or detailed realistic type of custom design patterns really makes a huge difference when you're creating a Citycore island, especially since you're not able to necessarily do a whole lot of natural terraforming on these types of islands. They also take a ton of planning. I have so much respect for everybody in our Animal Crossing community that has taken time to build a Citycore or Town Core island from scratch. It is so much work coming up with ideas. In fact, in the playlist that we have for island tours and subscriber island tours, be sure to check that out. There's a couple of really fantastic Citycore islands that we featured on the channel a while back, and so if you're looking for other ideas for your Citycore island, that's a great place to check it out. I also want to mention that if you're looking for any holiday builds, I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing any specific holiday builds this year, meaning Halloween and Christmas and all that stuff, but I do have a playlist on the channel specifically for holiday builds. So as we get closer to Halloween and Turkey Day and Toy Day, if you're looking for any ideas for that, please feel free to check that playlist out. There's a lot of really cute builds that we did last year on Cocobelle that might suit your need for what you're looking for on your islands. Alright, so right now we're just adding in a little bit of sidewalk. I like this brick pattern. It's pretty muted, but I think it's a really nice transitional piece to be able to use when creating different areas to kind of blend in with the street and the sidewalk. So we're going to be using a lot of this here just to sort of fill this in. I thought it would be fun to create a bus stop area and a huge building right here in the entrance just to kind of create a grand area, especially since on Honeybelle, the resident services is sort of off-centered from the airport. Now, any of you that have an airport that's not directly in line with your resident services, I totally feel your pain. This is something that, especially since this was the first island I ever had playing Animal Crossing New Horizons, I had no idea that you weren't able to move the resident services at the time, so I wasn't very selective when choosing my original island. So given that the resident services is sort of off to the side, I think kind of creating your own grand entrance with your own building, faux building, or if you're just sort of using your house to create a grand entrance on an island like this, I think can be really fun and different just because you don't have that huge resident services building right next to the airport to work with. All right, I'm gonna have to get rid of this rock because it's sort of blocking our area, but we're gonna extend this road a little ways. My plan as we build up Honeybelle 2.0 is to sort of build the road pattern as we go. There's a lot of different strategies that I think a lot of us use when creating our islands, and obviously there's no right or wrong way to do it. It's whatever works well for you. But I know for me, I found that usually I don't tend to do my roadways first. I sort of build my roadways as I go. I focus mostly on the main builds and what I want to do on the island and then work on connecting them later. So generally speaking, when I'm doing builds on an island, I do tend to sort of put down the pathing and roadway as I'm making the biggest builds on the island, and then find ways with little builds to sort of connect those areas after the fact. So whether you do it that way or you have your own way, I really super admire all of the people out there that are able to completely plan out their roadways first. I've seen it done spectacularly where people can sort of do all of their roadways first and then add buildings after the fact. I know for my mind at least, I'm not that talented or organized in my own mind when it comes to creativity, but I really admire that. So whatever works for you, go with that. But for me, I think we're going to be sort of adding roadway as we do our builds on this particular island. All right, we're going to be using some of these medieval building sides. I love this item, and I really love especially that there's a lot of different color variations for this. So if you happen to get this item in the cranny and you're able to catalog it, and you want a different color, don't fret because you can always order a bunch of these and take them over to Harv's Island and have Reese and Cyrus customize it for you, which is awesome. I really love we have that feature now. We're also going to be using some of this fence item to just sort of create this little bus stop area with some of these items. I wanted, like I said, this particular island to look a little bit more realistic, so we're going to be using a lot of familiar brands in stores and things like that to sort of create a more realistic style city island, at least for now on Honeybelle. I'm not sure what the future holds. I know that Citycore is great because you really can change up the theme. I've seen a lot of people do this once they've created a base island, whether it be Citycore or Tropicore, taking the island when it's finished and instead of completely flattening and demolishing it, sort of taking that idea and adding a twist to it. I know that Marilyn on Tropicitch, she's absolutely amazing. She is one of the leaders in this. I absolutely admire the fact that she can create a stellar island and then sort of add a twist to it while keeping the main base theme. I know she did that with her main island, Tropicitch. It was something that she did where it was a complete sort of resort tropical type of island, and then she sort of morphed it into this amazing tropical Citycore island after the fact. So you never know, maybe the future of Honeybelle is something similar to that. Let me know in the comments, what are some island themes that you guys have done out of the ones you have done for your islands? Which one is your favorite, and did you end up kind of adding your own twist to it after the fact to sort of create a new style on the island after your first one was finished? Let me know in the comments. I always love to hear from you guys. It's always so great to see and hear from you and what you guys have been up to on your islands. All right, we're putting down a few more items. I figured that we probably should put down a few phone booth things over here, just adding some lamp posts, and we're going to be adding some crosswalk items as well, just to sort of fill in the area. I really like using all of the items on Animal Crossing. I know that everybody has their forte and what they like. Some people really like to use items to decorate with. Some people just really love doing the natural terraforming, using lots of plants, trees, and shrubs. I think that this is probably going to be the first time that I'm going to be really focusing more on doing a lot of decorating with items versus the terraforming and sort of blinging it out that way. But I'm really excited with how this will hopefully come together. It's going to be an interesting journey, and like I said, I'm really excited to share it with you guys, so I hope you'll join me in that. So one of the things I really like to do for inspiration when creating an island is to try to think of real life builds, either places I've been in real life or photos that I can find online that sort of will emulate the style of the builds, just to kind of spark my creativity on where to place things and just kind of how to arrange things, because I think that can be a struggle for all of us, I feel like, from time to time when decorating on Animal Crossing, especially once you've played for a while, and if you've had the same theme on your island for a while and you're kind of just stuck with a creativity block and trying to decide what to do next. I think that going online, finding some photos of either a destination or just an idea can really spark a lot of creativity, I found. So I'm trying to take some inspo from New York City, Chicago, any of the larger cities that I've visited at different points in my life. So I'm hopeful that we can sort of find, despite trying to completely emulate those big cities and making them exact replicas, just basically trying to take some inspo from that. One of the things I love seeing in larger cities are these food truck ideas, and this has obviously been a huge trend in decorating in Animal Crossing in our community. I think that the food truck trend came about maybe, about 6 to 9 months ago, and the ideas have been endless. And personally, one of the things I really love are these truck items that we got with the 2.0 update. I feel like they're huge. I love that when you put the custom design pattern on the side, it's massive. And I love the idea, if you've seen some of the pictures either on Pinterest or just online, Reddit, any of those places, I love the concept of doing a food truck build. It's been really huge. If you missed the Cocobelle 2.0 journey, we did a taco truck build on the channel. I really loved how it came together, so I knew personally I wanted to incorporate a few food truck areas on Honeybelle. But today I just wanted to kind of create the look of a coffee sort of area. I thought that made sense for a bus stop section here on the island. Okay, so we went ahead and jumped forward in time. I sort of finished up the build and then decided that I wanted to make this section of the bus station taller, only because I wanted the entrance, since we don't have resident services here, to be a little bit more grand. So I went ahead and started getting the terraforming going back here. We're going to create a second layer and use a ton more of the medieval building sides to sort of create a huge faux bus station building. I wanted it to look sort of like Grand Central Station for buses. So we're going to go ahead and create a second layer over here and then stack some of the building sides and then create a third tier as well. I think that this has sort of more of a wow factor than just the first level type of building that we had here. So bear with me, guys, as we climb up here. We're going to go ahead and create a third tier, and then we'll start placing some of our items. So we're starting with roughly a 6x8 section for the second tier, and then we're creating a third tier here. Now, I'm the type of person that when I'm creating a build, I do tend to put a lot of the items in my pocket, and then I'll go ahead and continue placing the items as I sort of terraform at the same time. It oftentimes makes it a little bit easier when placing the items. You don't have to do as much up and down. And I also like to sort of take a custom design pattern and put it down here on top of the grass. I know it's not required, but I really feel like this adds a lot of depth to a build, especially if you just have the grass underneath. I think that at the end, the finished product, especially if it's a build that's in your flyover zone like this one, I think it's really important when you can to sort of disguise it to make it look a little bit more realistic like a roof. I think it adds a lot of finishing touches in the build itself. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and place a few of these medieval building sides, which is really tricky on this particular platform since it's not nearly as big. But once you can get those placed, I'm basically sandwiching 2 by 2 here, front back to back. And then we're gonna go ahead and climb down and demolish the little lip that we created to place the items. That way we can place more goodies up here on this second tier section right over here. We're going to place our custom design pattern back down that we erased from terraforming on it, just like that. And we're going to place more of the building sides. I think staggering them is nice because I think since this particular item, they fit seamlessly together from the front, but on the sides they look a little bit like there's a gap in between. So I think adding these columns here will sort of disguise that a little bit. That's something that I've definitely found in Animal Crossing New Horizons. If you have a couple of pieces that don't push flush together like you'd like them to, I think using other objects either next to them or in front of them to sort of block that gap can sort of help in that endeavor for sure. All right, we're going to be adding more of these items. I know that using the bookshelves can be a huge item that fills in sort of for creating faux buildings. I think it works really well. In this particular situation, I'm really loving this particular item here. This is the Takanama, and I apologize if I didn't pronounce that right, but this item is great because it's in a few different colors. You can get it in either sort of a cream color, more of a, I don't know, like a muted green, and then also this black sort of bluish sparkly color I think works really well for this because it's convincingly part of a building. I think it fills in the gaps really well and just sort of makes a little bit of a different angle with the pieces that you're pushing together. Love it, yes. Now you can sort of see the gap here. That's why we're using the decorative pillars right here to sort of block that. I think it makes a difference when you're putting some of the builds together. Like I said, since some of the items in Animal Crossing don't fit seamlessly together, I think the best you can do is usually just sort of camouflage it with different items to block it to make it look a little bit more convincing. We're going to go ahead and add the same thing here on the other side, and then we're going to frame it all in with another row of the medieval building sites before we sort of do a few more things to finish up the build for the day. So what about you guys? What are you doing for your next theme on your island? Let me know in the comments, or you can find me on Instagram at Peppy Crossing Play. I absolutely completely adore hearing from you guys. It's been so much fun. We've been doing a lot of subscriber island tours again on the channel. If you're looking to potentially have your stellar Animal Crossing island featured on the channel, check in the description of most of my videos. I do have a consideration form that you're welcome to fill out. I do pre-screen the islands, and I'm for sure looking for islands that are completed. And if you have a spooky type of island, I'm sort of looking for some ideas here for the upcoming Halloween season, since we're not doing necessarily any type of Halloween type of builds on the channel. I would absolutely love to feature some of yours. So if you have time and you have a stellar Halloween style build on your island, check out the forum and please submit it. I'd always love to see what you guys are up to, and it's always great to see all of your amazing ideas. Okay, we're going to create a little bus stop area back here. I know that eventually we're going to be connecting more buildings to this area on the opposite side of our entrance, but for now we're going to go ahead and sort of enclose it in by putting down a little bit more of the street pathing and then frame it in with more of the medieval building sides as well as this castle gate. I think that creating a little alleyway back here is going to be a nice transition area. I don't know about you guys, but I always struggle with the transition areas. I think sometimes it's really hard to come up with ideas on sort of how to make your different major builds on the island flow, and that's something that once you kind of have your island planned out and you come up with what main builds you want to do on the island, especially the larger ones, it's kind of nice to be able to come up with some ideas on how to sort of make everything flow together. So a lot of these areas you'll see on at least on my islands, I think that most of them are sort of happy accidents. Most of the transition areas that I have on my islands are not planned out. It's just sort of looking at the gap and area that we have and then sort of trying to see what items spot-wise would fit in the area and what makes sense. So in this particular area over here, I thought it would be good to sort of create like a little bus area where the buses would come in. We're also going to make it a dual purpose area where you can sort of find a tool shed to sort of get your items out, maybe a crafting bench, things of that nature. So that way it not only kind of ties in with our bus station grand entrance, it's also a useful spot that we can use when we need to, have readily available to craft items. I also really like the concept of having these spots readily available for any guests. If you have friends visiting your island, it's kind of nice to have a crafting bench kind of close to the entrance as well. So my thought was to take some of these pro design items that we have here. I've got a couple of different options. This adorable school bus pattern, as well as a more standard bus that I thought would be fun to kind of put up against the fence to create the look of buses waiting at the station. Yes, it's looking great. I think we have everything pretty well figured out. So let's take a little tour of how everything came together. I hope you guys like this build. I'm pretty pleased with how it came together. I love the cars in this game. I love that we have actual cars that when night falls, you can actually see the headlights. I think they're just really adorable, and they definitely add a lot of life to builds on Animal Crossing. We have this really cute OK Motor sign that I thought would look precious for a bus stop. This is actually a Pocket Camp item that you can get from playing the first few levels of Pocket Camp. And then I love the fence back here, how you can sort of see the buses parked up against the fence, sort of waiting for passengers to show up. And then we also have our little crafting area back there and our coffee truck right there as well. All right, we're gonna run back here. I created also this little basketball area. I wasn't really sure what to do with this, but I know I wanted a little bit of patchy grass. So we took this adorable little leaf pattern here and then just sort of created this fun little hangout spot for our villagers. And Raymond, why are you thinking? I know you're not thinking of leaving, buddy. We also created this little bike parking area as well, and then a second additional crosswalk over here just to kind of line everything up with the plaza, since resident services is sort of shoved off to the side from our airport. But all in all, I'm really happy with how this build came together. I hope you guys enjoyed this build. I hope you'll try this for yourselves. If you do, please tag me in any photos on Instagram. I get so much joy from seeing how you guys' version of these builds come together. If you like this type of content and you want to see more, please like the video and consider subscribing to the channel. I can't thank you all enough for joining me on this new Honeybelle 2.0 journey. I'm so excited to share more fun, realistic Citycore builds with you guys. Thanks again, you guys. Wishing you all an amazing day. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.